everyone. Welcome to the Coaching Angel Show. My name is Angel, and I am the Coaching Angel. And it's a pleasure to meet with you as often as I can right here on transformation.tv. And today, as always, when I come to you, I bring forth inspiring and enlightening guests, people who make a difference in the world, who transform lives and send energy out that is healing and filled with love. And today's guest, my dear sweet friend, Lisa Winston, who I've been connected to for many years, is going to be with us so that she can share a little bit about her story. And I'm thrilled to have her. She wears many hats. She is a television host and producer, a best-selling author, a speaker, a coach, and a bright light in the world. So help me, if you will, to welcome my guest today, Lisa Winston. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Angel, thank you so much for having me here. Everybody will hear my story, but I have to tell you, this is a big coming out for me, and it's a huge celebration. So I am just really grateful and blessed and honored to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I've been watching your journey for the last couple of years. Along with me, you've been through some stuff, and I think it's going to be very interesting for you to share a little bit about the journey that you've been on. Who is Lisa Winston?
Oh, well, Lisa Winston is changing. The older I get, the more changes happen, which is really cool. I'm an intuitive, sensitive empath, extremely sensitive. Of course, I was a singer for 40 years, and I still use that to a certain degree. I'm an artist, an author, a speaker. I'm a mom. I am growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, my philosophy has always been say yes to life. And, life has been throwing me some challenges, and I'm saying yes to them, even though they're not fun, because you know that we transform when we say yes.
And you know, you're so much more than all of what you just shared. I mean, you really are. You're such a diverse human being with so many gifts and talents. And, you know, a lot of people do know you, and certainly there will be many more that will after this get together that we have right now. Tell everybody that might be tuning in, what exactly do you do right now in the world? What are you focusing on? I know that the past year you've been doing a lot of healing physically, but beyond that, beside that, where are you really in terms of your work in the world?
That's a great question because it's changed so much. I went from coaching, which I love, but it wasn't my passion. And, you know, I made my book, I wrote my book, and I'm actually going to be writing some more books because I have some great material now. I had a live event 2 years ago, which I plan on doing more of. The really cool thing is that my life partner, Joe Vitale, and I are doing many courses together, healing courses, some other really cool things together. We're working on some music, some songs. So we're going to be doing we're going to be doing some international speaking gigs coming up this summer. So that's kind of where I'm headed right now.
Wow. Tell everybody, what is the name of your book? And give us a little bit of a taste of what exactly this book is focused on.
It's called Your Turning Point. And I really wrote it when I was going through another change, and that was I got the information from Spirit to go back and be with my mom, and I didn't know she was dying at the time. When I was actually driving back to live with her, I found out she was dying from breast cancer. Yeah, so it really was a cool experience because Joe really helped me get started. I had wanted to write a book for a lot of years, but this one was really my experiences, all the things I had gone through. And I wrote it while my mom was dying. So I really was living the moment while I was writing about it. You know, it was a very cool book. But now, like I said, there are more turning points, bigger turning points. And so there'll be a follow-up book to that for sure.
Yes, I can relate to that as I published a book last March, and I'm working on a second one. So all of a sudden these things just pour out of you. And
you have to do it, yeah.
Tell us a little bit, if you will, about your personal hero's journey, Lisa. Mm-hmm. What's some of the stuff that you had to evolve and kind of navigate your way through to get to where you are in terms of your inner peace and ability to really see the world as you do today in the life that you live?
I love that question. I don't like talking about it per se because I don't want people to think, you know, none of us are victims really, but mine started really early on. I never knew who I was. I came into the world with a lot of fear as a child. I was molested at a very early age. I was gang raped in college. I had a lot of abusive marriages and divorces. My parents, of course, both passed, and I assisted both of them. in the process. I lost my house to wildfire in 2007 and then was diagnosed 2 months later with breast cancer. My daughter has had some issues from one of the marriages that's been really difficult. Of course, the Lyme disease that I've had the last 9 months and what goes along with that. And then my journey with Joe. I love what you said, that I have peace. And sometimes I do, but I'll tell you what, I have to be really transparent. And that this Lyme journey where I thought I was really going to die and I was very ill, it brought me to my knees. And some things like that really test your faith, and you really get to see how strong your faith is or isn't. So it was a gift, but.
I too had a fire and lost my home. And I had a very serious near-death experience back in 1999. And
wow, parallel journeys here.
Yes. And it's one of the, I don't know, I've always felt very connected to you, and I've followed you for a very long time. And at one point thought about working together with you on some level. And you're just someone that I'm very drawn to. So it's very interesting, to kind of hear that more about your story. What do you think the greatest lesson, what's the greatest takeaway for you?
Oh, man. So many. What I was going to say is there's nothing but change. I mean, things always change. But I think really my biggest lesson in this last phase of my life has been about trust and surrender. Because when I really was sick, I couldn't believe, after all I had been through, this miracle space and all these wonderful things in this book I wrote and how to get there. And I mean, things were just falling in my lap, and then bam, right? I almost die. So for me, it was really about my faith, trusting that Spirit had me exactly where, I was going to say he, I'm not religious. I believe it's he, she. Anyway, Spirit had me exactly where it wanted me. And the other thing was trust. I did not trust initially that I was going to make it through. I really had to do some deep inner work. So we really do, when we say yes to life, we really have to look at the situations, because Joe was there for me. I could have been in a completely different situation and I would have been without support and all kinds of things. So when you really start looking at how the pieces fit together, even if you're in a quote unquote bad situation, you look at it and you see the divine guidance, and the divine is totally a part of the process, even though it seems bad. So really surrender and trust, I think, are the two things I've been working on. Still big lessons.
Tell my audience a little bit about Joe, who he is. And I know that his work, I love his Ho'oponopono work. Tell them just a little bit about him. I love getting a little bit more personal with my guests.
Sure. I'm happy to divulge the information at this point. We've been together. We met about 2 years ago. I had interviewed him about 2.5 years ago on one of my summits. And we just had this amazing off the chart energy. And then we didn't, we followed each other, I think, on Facebook a little bit. But we ended up actually having 2 years ago, the end of this month, we ended up having dinner. And again, it was all this synchronistic stuff that happened. I mean, nobody was chasing anybody. All this stuff was just happening. And Spirit just said, you here, even though we didn't know what was going on. And, he was married. So we became really great friends. He really helped me with my book. He supported me during my mom's death. He just would always pop in. He really is a soulmate of mine. And I came to Texas initially just to work with him. And we ended up seeing that there were more, there was more for us as far as working together. And so, anyway, he's been going through a very long, torturous divorce. And we've been together for a year physically together, and get excited to move forward after all this stuff is out of the way. Joe Vitale is, as everybody knows, he's got 77 some books, and Ho'oponopono and Attracting Money, and he is a brilliant, amazing being. I've never encountered anybody like him. I've never been with anybody like him. So I'm blessed and honored to call him my life partner, my love.
How wonderful for you. Wow. We've got so many things in common. But that's a conversation for another time.
Yes, that is. Absolutely. I thought I'd give you the whole lowdown, because, it's all coming out.
I'm truly happy for you. I'm just glad to see that you're landing on your feet again, and you're coming back as vibrant as you always were. And I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
I think love is such a healing energy. I have been without a partner now for the past 11 years. Yeah. And it is a whole different feeling. The energy around not having that in your life is so different. So I'm sure that having that love in your life has contributed to the healing that has been going on for the past year as you battle.
Yeah, absolutely. But in reality, when you find the person, like I never thought I was going to be with anybody. I figured I was going to be, after divorces and everything, by myself. And but when you're meant to be with somebody, you know, and carry on important life work, then it happens. And it's an adjustment for me after all those bad relationships. So, you know, enjoy your time by yourself. And if it's meant to be, you know, your partner will show up too. I know it.
Absolutely. I'm not really overly concerned about it, but
I can tell.
you know, it's an interesting journey. The whole thing is an interesting journey from this perspective, from this lens. Turning 70, it's a different lens.
What a blessing. You are so beautiful, really.
Thank you so much. Amazing. So what's the biggest goal for you personally in the next couple of years? What would you love, one thing, besides obviously maybe marrying Dr. Joe Vitale or whatever that might look like in terms of its evolution, what other one thing would you love in your life to unfold in the next 3 years, let's say?
Wow. Well, of course, in the healing too, that's the big one for me right now. But I think probably my biggest focus and goals will be on speaking internationally. My book is coming out and being published in Italian in April. So we're going back to Italy in May, and Romania and I don't know, a couple of other places, Portugal, to do some speaking. And so for me, I've wanted to do that for a long time, and I've done it on a smaller scale, but now I'm going to be sharing the stage with him and doing my own thing for my book and all that. So I think that, you know, we all have a message and we want to get it out there. And the only way to do it is to go a lot of times. And I've been given this incredibly beautiful opportunity to do something I never thought I would get a chance to do. So I believe in the next 3 years, that's going to really open up for me.
Well, that's an exciting thing to look forward to. Talk about having a great goal. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I think I mentioned to you in one of our messaging back and forth that I'm working on this second book right now. My first book, An Angel's Journey, Breakdowns to Breakthroughs, was a memoir and a real story for me of dealing with major letting go, along with major depression and a lot of what codependency creates in one's life when it spirals out of control. This book coming out now is called Why Not Me, Why Not Now? And it takes place from the beginning of my transformation TV journey. And it focuses on attachment and letting go. And I've asked my guests for their input, either or both of those topics, attachment and letting go. When you draw from your own personal life, where have you seen those things create perhaps something really that was somewhat of a havoc for you to deal with?
Oh, God, those are huge, huge subjects. And like I said, surrender was big for me, but attaching and letting go has been another one of my huge lessons. And for me, I must be, you know, have a thick skull or something, because the universe keeps bringing me lessons going, hello, is anybody in there, you know? I think the thing is that attaching, we are attached to what's comfortable and what's, you know, with sameness, because we fear what we don't know. We fear the unknown. And I think that's typical for everybody. So letting go is this process. I notice it goes really deep. Like you can let go and have an event. And I talked about that a little bit. And then, now I had another thing to let go of. Letting go goes deeper than we even know. And a lot of times we think we're letting go, but we're still holding on white knuckled. So I think sometimes we have to be brought to our knees, like me, you know, to get the lesson. And it's still, I don't know about you, Angel, but I still find it incredibly hard to trust and let go. Mm-hmm. It's scary.
You know, but from the moment that we're born, we're dealing with both. We're dealing with attachment and letting go. We're letting go of life from day one. You know, the clock is ticking down. And it's just so interesting that we spend our lives struggling so much with both of these issues. You know, how much we can attach ourselves to, how much we're pouring into everything we attach ourselves to. And then at what point are we doing too much? And what do we need to do to kind of back off and let go? And, you know, the compulsivity, if you will, that often comes along with attachment is just like ridiculous. And
you know, I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, I've experienced some of it. I have in my own journey, and I'm just, every day I work on this, letting go of control, letting go of what I really am powerless over in my life.
Right. That's a big one. Ooh, I love that.
So if you could give like a tool or a tip or a gold nugget, if you will, to my viewers, something that might help them in their life,
Yeah.
I often just drop little tidbits that kind of help to inspire and create new motivations for new goals for the people that I work with. What one thing would you suggest or could you offer that's helping your life?
I think the biggest thing for me is I was given this meditation years ago by Spirit, and I call it the love expansion meditation, because none of us feel like we love ourselves, and we don't feel that love of the divine. And so this meditation that I have, and I'm welcome to give it to anybody who wants to email me or whatever. It's actually, I think it's on my website. It's where you sit in silence, and even if you don't feel the love, you start to imagine that there's love within you and it's radiating out like the ripple effect. It's going out, and you think, you cover people in your home with love, and then your nation, and then you keep expanding it out over the globe. This is a quick version of it. And then across the universe. And I used to do this with clients, and they'd say, oh, this is so boring. Well, after a while they do it, and they'd be sitting there for 30 minutes in this love that started to wash over them that they did not want to move from. So until we feel the love of the divine, it's real hard to love other people. It's hard to love ourselves. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that we need to do, because most of us are looking for love, but we don't love ourselves.
But without that real higher connection, it's really hard to achieve that inner harmony, that inner love that we all need to create us to really be ready or in a place of being healthy enough to welcome other love into our life.
Yes.
What one thing would you share that might be something about Lisa Winston that most people just don't know? We know that you are all these things that I described at the very beginning of our conversation, but what's one little secret thing about you that might be fun to share that people just don't know about Lisa?
Oh my God, there's so many. I think the coolest thing that I wanted to share, I shared this with you earlier, is that this is my very first interview in 9 months. I stopped my show, the Mindset Reset show. I stopped everything because I was, I couldn't see, I couldn't function. And so like I said, this is a big celebration, a big coming out, because I have not been well enough to even put makeup on and get in front of a camera. So I am pushing through, like I tell everybody to do, keep moving forward. And you were patient enough to reschedule me once. And so I thought I better show up this time. And I'm glad that I did, because I feel a little bit better today, and I'm grateful to be here with you. So I am a pusher througher, which is not proper English.
Yeah.
I did an interview just quickly with somebody on my show who was dying from cancer, and she was a bright light, and she continued to work, and she showed up for her interview. And I thought, I used her as an example, and I thought there are people that are going through all kinds of stuff that show up, and that really inspired me. So I'm hoping to inspire you people out there, if you're going through something, to keep moving forward, just baby steps, one thing at a time.
It's trying to motivate people to keep them out of that place of being stuck.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time with my clients, even at workshops, talking about that place that people just want to stay in, and they want to revolve and dwell around their story, the story of what happened 5 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever. And it's just so contracted. So that's the one thing that I really try very hard to get people to get themselves out of. When they know they're in a moment of being stuck, to go up there and change the thought, delete it. Like if you have a remote in your hand, just change that thought process.
Yes.
Because you change the thought, you change the outcome. I often talk about that. Every single thought that we have generates a feeling, which generates some type of an action, and then you get your results. So if you don't like the results, it's always about getting back to the thinking.
Right.
It is.
It is. It's huge. I know. So many of us say, no, that's not true, but we don't, why not give it a chance, right?
Ever since I started doing the law of attraction work that I specialize, one of the things I specialize in, I become really self-conscious of my thinking. Like I go up and cleanse my mind many, many times a day. And I never realized before I stepped into this work many years ago when I became a coach, that it's toxic up there. If I don't clean house mentally several times a day, like there's all sorts of things that will just stay stuck in my mind that are not in service. They're not in service to my highest good.
No, we're stuck on, like in these loops that go over and over, incessant, obsessive thoughts. And a lot of times we're not aware of them. So it's critical, imperative. And I love that you bring that up. Yeah.
It absolutely is.
You have to practice it.
And not only practice it, but practice it often. It can't be like every week, let me check in with my thinking.
Right.
Really.
Daily.
daily and sometimes hourly, because
Yes.
we can stay stuck if we don't go up there and sweep out the dirt.
Right. Exactly. I love
So
that.
how could people reach you? People that don't know how to contact you, tell them where they can reach you. And you can certainly let them know the name of your show and how they can follow you as well if they like.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my website is lisaawinston.com. That has a little bit of information. I'm still upgrading that. My email is thebeautyofauthenticity@gmail.com. And my show is called Mindset. You can go to www.mindsetresettv.com. I'm not coaching right now, but you can reach me if you want to.
Well, all I can tell you is this has been a real treat. I have wanted to speak with you for a very long time. I did not think it would be in this venue, but I'm delighted that it is. And I hope this brings you many blessings, lots and lots of success going forward, many more podcasts and interviews and shows, and all things good for you, and many blessings with Dr. Joe. And just be happy, Lisa. Get well. And, I would love to stay in touch with you. I admire the work that you've always done, and I know that you've got great things ahead of you. So thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you for having me. And I love what you do too. So yes, we will stay in touch. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. All right. Bless you, honey. We'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.